What's up, world? This is Salim with Flip for Figs, and today I'll be ranking every single series in the BrickLink Designer Program, all the way from Series 1 to the newly announced Series 11, and I'll even include the first 3 rounds of the Invitational series. Let's do it.
Flip for Figs.
Alrighty folks, before we get started, let me explain how this ranking will work. Every single series in the BrickLink Designer Program is composed of 5 individual sets, and I will be assigning a score to each set in that particular series based on whether it's a must-have, which is worth 3 points, a nice-to-have, which is worth 2 points, or a take-it-or-leave-it, which is worth 1 point. After each set is scored, I will tally up the total for each series, and then based on that score, I will put them in a rank from S tier all the way down to C tier. Let's get started. Alrighty, starting with Series 1 of the BrickLink Designer Program. The first set is The General Store by Lucky, which is the beginning of his Wild West town, which would go on to include the Wild West train, as well as the train station and the blacksmith shop. But on its own, the General Store was kind of an unusual choice to start the Wild West town. But if you plan on getting the others, I think that it'll be a nice complement. So I'm going to give the General Store a nice to have. The Snack Shack, on the other hand, leaves a lot to be desired. I was never particularly fond of it. At first glance, I got like prehistoric, like Flintstones vibes from it. I don't know why. And then looking at it, it's more of a futuristic kind of silver capsule. I don't really know what to make of it, but either way, I just, for this one, I'm going to give it a take it or leave it. Now, the Parisian Street is a beautiful set, and it, obviously it's just a facade, so it's open on the back, but a lot of sets like Main Street, Diagon Alley, Hogsmeade are open on the back. So while at the time that was disappointing, now I think it can complement those sets, so I will say it's a nice to have. The old train engine shed, on the other hand, I feel compared to the other train stations that we would get in the BrickLink Designer Program, to me, I think it really needed like a freight car or a rail car parked on the side there. I think it's charming, but overall, for me, it's a take it or leave it. Now, last but not least, the Mountain Fortress. This was the first big castle from the BrickLink Designer Program, and in my opinion, it's still the best. It's absolutely epic, and it can carry this entire series on its own. I'm going to give the Mountain Fortress a must-have. That gives the total for Series 1, 9 points. So that puts Series 1 in the C tier. Alrighty, Series 2. This is actually the only numbered series that I don't have any sets from yet, but I do plan to get at least one. Now, starting with the Logging Railway, this is, again, I'm a big train fan, but to me, I just felt like this set was a lot of track. I would have preferred more train and less of the track because it's more than half of the set, and frankly, I think the curve is nice, but overall, I just wish we got a more substantial train. So I'm going to put that one as a take it or leave it. The Mushroom House, while we would get another component to the Mushroom Village with Series 5, overall, it's just not for me. So I'm going to give the Mushroom House a take it or leave it. Brick Cross train station, on the other hand, I think is super charming. It works as a train station. It also works as a modular building or just a part of your city. I think it's got beautiful architecture. I love the sloped glass on the right. And then the main part of it, it opens a little odd, but this is a set I definitely want to add to the collection. So I'm going to say that that's a must-have. The Ominous Isle is an interesting one. I think that actually it's the kind of skeletal face that is throwing me off. I think that kind of makes it look, juniorized, whereas if it just had some different architecture style there, I think it would have been maybe more appealing. So for me, I'm going to call it a nice to have. And then we have the Ocean House, which is actually one of 3 different sets that are all part of a series. And I think that that's the only reason that kind of makes it higher in my book. It is a beautiful set, but on its own, it's kind of odd and doesn't really fit anywhere in my collection. But if you have the others, it works. So I'm going to say that that's a nice to have, giving Series 2 a total of 9 points, placing it next to Series 1 in the C tier. All right, on to Series 3. The first set is the Lost City. This is a really cool set that gives kind of Legend of Zelda vibes. However, the interior is really lacking. Overall, it's still a set I'm interested in, so I'm going to say that that's a nice to have. The Harbor Master's Office is another one that for me doesn't really fit in my collection now because I sold my old fishing store. But if I get that back and the Fisherman Village in Series 9, I think it'll complement it really well. So I'm going to say that the Harbor Master's Office is also a nice to have. The Art of Chocolate is another set that doesn't really fit in my collection, but it's just so charming. I love the way that it opens. I love the idea behind it. It's such a unique set that to me, it's also very much a nice to have. And then we have the Forest Stronghold, which I absolutely love. Big fan of the designer Taylor Anderson, big fan of this set. It was a lot of fun to build and very charming. I know many people wish it was a fully enclosed castle, but for me, I think it still works, especially since you can display the separate halves of the castle. And I have it displayed right behind me, so this one is a must-have. And lastly, the Camping Adventure. Now, the trend with the BrickLink Designer Program is these obligatory small sets are going to kind of be hit or miss. And for me, this is one that will maybe complement your off-road adventure from, I think it's Series 6. But overall, for me, it's a take it or leave it, giving the Series 3 score 10 points and putting that one in the B tier. All right, Series 4. This is the first series where I feel like every set is one that I want, but let's go through one by one, starting with the Wild West Train. I love this set. It's behind me. It's part of Lucky's Wild West Town. It's incredible as a train on its own or as part of the series, so for me, it's a must-have. Riverside Scholars is like the Ocean House, part of that kind of fantastical series by the designer Hanwas, and I think this one is the strongest of his designs, and it's one that I really wanted, but I had to resist getting because it didn't really belong in my collection, but I still want it. So I'm going to call that one a nice to have. The Medieval Seaside Market is, while it's not as fantastic as a lot of the other castles in the BrickLink Designer Program, it does complement the Lion Knight's castle, and it's nice kind of having a harbor side, medieval town. So for me, it's a must-have. The Merchant Boat is another set that doesn't necessarily belong in my collection, but I really want it. I love the kind of fantasy / steampunk style of it and how it's kind of, a little squished, but vertical, and it's a house and a boat. So I really like it. I would like to have it. So for me, that's a nice to have. And then the Siege Encampment. This is a set that I don't have yet, but I do plan to get it at some point. While I'm not usually a fan of sets that are a bunch of little builds as opposed to one substantial build, I do think that all of the different components will complement my different castles. So for me, I'm going to give that a must-have and giving Series 4 a score of 13 points, which puts it right in the S tier. All right, Series 5. Series 5 is the first BrickLink Designer Program series that I could not resist, and it also led me down the rabbit hole that you see behind me. So let's get started. Thieves of Tortuga, 150,000% must have. This is actually one of my favorite sets of all time. If you haven't built it yet or bought it yet, I encourage you to do so. It's magical. I love it. I wasn't even planning on getting it. It wasn't on my radar. I ended up getting it. One of my favorite sets of all time and my favorite set in the entire BrickLink Designer Program so far. The Antique Shop, on the other hand, is a set that to me, it doesn't look like an antique shop. I wish the exterior looked more like an old-timey kind of antique shop you would see in an old downtown of a small town. But instead, it just looks like a house. It never really appealed to me. And so for me, it's a take it or leave it. The Adventure in Transylvania is the set that got me to the BrickLink Designer Program. I love red and black. I love everything spooky, and it's an awesome castle. For me, it's a must-have for sure. The Popcorn Wagon, I think, is one of the strongest small BrickLink Designer Program sets. I think it'll look great with your kind of Disneyland collection. Even though it's a bit big next to Main Street, it looks good beside the castle. So for me, the Popcorn Wagon is a nice to have. The Mushroom Village, again, not a huge fan of the mushroom sets. I think they're cool if you're into that thing, just not for me, so it's a take it or leave it. giving Series 5 an overall score of 10 points and putting it right in the B tier. Alrighty, Series 6. Starting with the Off-Road Adventure, this is one of the better small sets from the BrickLink Designer Program. It's really charming, the angles, the trees, there's a lot of storytelling there, and I think it'll complement the camping adventure. Overall, for me though, it's a take it or leave it just because it doesn't really belong in my collection. The Art Factory, on the other hand, I think can appeal to a lot of people. I like that you can display it open or closed, and if I had the space for it, I would definitely get it. So for me, it's a nice to have. Goldmine Expedition is a set that, even though I'm not the biggest Wild West person, really appealed to me, and so I did end up buying it, and it's kind of like a whole town in just one build, and I really love that about this set, so for me, it's a must-have. And the Outlaw Forest Den brought the Wolf Pack back to us. So for me, the Outlaw Forest Den is a must-have, even though the build can be a little cumbersome at times, and it is a lot of rock, exterior, but the charm is definitely there. So for me, it's a must-have. The Sequoias, on the other hand, I would say are a take it or leave it, just because unless you're planning on getting the, I think it'll look good with maybe the A-frame cabin, but it just takes up a lot of space. And, I'm not a big fan of Lego foliage, so for me, that was a take it or leave it, giving the Series 6 a score of 10 points and putting it in the B tier with Series 5. All right, Series 7. This was the most recently released BrickLink Designer Program series, and the last series on this ranking that I actually have physical sets from. But, the Privateer Frigate Fortuna, I think that's a set that could have been a nice to have, but once I saw the sails and the ability to add the sails, and once I added the sails myself, I knew it was a must-have. I think it belongs in every Lego fan's collection, so the Frigate Fortuna, absolutely a must-have. Walt, on the other hand, it's an interesting concept. I like the fact that the little container comes with different kind of, face plates and emotions and accessories. But overall, even though it's a cute little set and a nice entry point for the BrickLink Designer Program, it just wasn't for me, so I would say take it or leave it. The Sushi Restaurant, on the other hand, is in my opinion, one of the greatest Lego sets of all time. I'm a huge fan of Japan, a huge fan of Kyoto and sushi. And so for me, this set was a no-brainer, and the build process was fun. I love the way that you can display it in so many different ways. It's really versatile, and I love the architecture. And so the Sushi Restaurant, for sure, a must-have. The Alchemist Shop was really is the only medieval set from this series. It was the kind of one of the few series where we didn't get a big castle, but the Alchemist Shop was nice in that it really works well with the Blacksmith Shop and the upcoming Sleeping Dragon Inn. And so for me, the Alchemist Shop is definitely a must-have. The Antique Cabinet, on the other hand, this is another set that doesn't really belong in my collection. It's obviously not minifig scale, and while it did kind of appeal to me more once I saw all of the unique shields and minifigs that come in with it, for me, it's just not one that I need in my collection, so I give it a take it or leave it, giving BrickLink Series 7 a score of 11 points and putting it in the A tier. All right, Series 8. This is the first BrickLink Designer Program series where I was really compelled to pre-order every single set, and now I'm regretting not doing so. Starting with the Brick Railroad Locomotive, at first I was like, I don't need that, until I saw that the designer created instructions to make the passenger car using all of the pieces from the main set. So I wish I pre-ordered two. I planned to, and then I forgot. But for me, overall, it's a beautifully detailed train. We don't get enough of them, so it's a must-have for sure. The Coconut Cape appealed to me immediately with the yellow. I feel like we seldom get buildings with that color scheme. While the bottom is a bit too white and kind of, rocky, I do love the building, and I think it just works well in so many different places. And I'm excited to build this one, so I'm giving Coconut Cape a must-have as well. And then the Dustmark Keep. This is a castle that is highly anticipated from many fans, including myself. It's nice to get a desert themed castle. I don't think we've ever seen that before. And it is going to be kind of the Serpent Knights castle. So we're going to get a full castle for this faction. It's awesome. It looks good open or closed. And for me, the Dustmark Keep, absolutely must have. I did pre-order it. The University of Science is another one where it's like, to me, it's just excessive, but it's so good. It's a huge set. I love that you can display it as one long, piece, or you can close it up to put it on your modular street. It's beautiful. I wish I pre-ordered it. I'm probably going to end up picking it up off Facebook Marketplace or eBay or something. Could I live without it? Yes, but it would be nice to have. And then the hot air balloon. This is a cute set, and I think this is the best small BrickLink Designer Program set ever. I just love the way the shape of the balloon was achieved, and I planned on getting this one as well, even if I just ended up displaying it in one of my daughter's room. It's really cute, and so I'm going to give it a nice to have, giving Series 8 a score of 13 points and putting it in the S tier with Series 4. All right, Series 9. 9 is my favorite number. I really wanted to love this series, but it's meh. The blacksmith shop from Lucky is awesome. And again, it's something that definitely belongs in every Wild West town. And since I seem to be collecting the Wild West sets, I'm going to give the blacksmith shop a nice to have. The Fisherman's Village is another one that I think is a great looking set, and I think it's the largest set of this series. But again, unless you have like the other Fisherman's set or the Harbor Master office, for me, it doesn't really belong in my collection. Do I want it? Yes. Do I need it? No, but it would be nice to have. The Sleeping Dragon Inn, on the other hand, is the only medieval set that we're getting from this entire series, and it's going to really complement the Alchemist shop as well as the medieval blacksmith shop. So for me, the Sleeping Dragon Inn is an absolute must-have. The Pumpkin Patch, on the other hand, is a set that, no disrespect to the designer, it's cute, but for me, I don't know how this set got selected. I just feel like it looks like something you'd make from extra leftover pieces in your collection. I think if, it was more substantial or it had maybe a wagon or something with it, I could go with it. But just as is, to me, it leaves a lot to be desired. So I'm going to say take it or leave it. And then the Wood Brick Freight Depot, because of the Wild West train station announced right behind it, and with the Brick Cross station and some of the others, to me, I just feel like it's, something that we don't necessarily need. And so for me, the freight station is a take it or leave it, giving Series 9 a score of 9 points and going into the C tier with Series 1 and Series 2. Alrighty, Series 10. So starting with the Wild West train station, I'm extremely excited about this one. I love the color scheme. I love everything that's included with it. And since I have the Wild West train, for me, this is absolutely a must-have. And I think if you're only getting one of Lucky's Wild West sets, this is the one. And then you have the Firehouse, which is a really nice set, but the green and red color scheme gives me like Christmas vibes. So I don't know. I feel like this is a set that I would get if I had a lot more space, but since I don't, for me, it's just going to stick in the nice to have category. The Space Cafe is another one that I feel like would be cool to have, but I think even if I did have the space, it just doesn't really fit in with anything else in my collection. So for me, I'm going to say Space Cafe is a take it or leave it. And then the Joust, the medieval tournament, this one I'm really excited about. It was actually one of several different jousting sets that were part of Series 10 submissions. And there were some that I think were stronger or more unique looking, but I can understand why, the fans chose this one. I think it's cool that you get tents from all the other factions. And so I really like that it kind of allows you to bring all your factions together. I'm super excited about it. So for me, the jousting set is a must-have. And then the kiosk, this is actually one of the better small sets because I feel like this can fit in anywhere in your collection. I think it'll look good with the upcoming Village Parlor from Series 11, or it'll look good with like the Parisian Street or any of these kind of different, modulars or brick cross station. I feel like it's just really versatile, and it's a small enough set where you can fit it everywhere. So for me, the kiosk is definitely a nice to have, giving Series 10 a total of 11 points and putting it in the A tier. All right, Series 11. This is actually the last numbered BrickLink Designer Program series ever. After this, starting in 2028, they will be called Wave 1, 2, and 3 of each particular year. So we won't ever be getting a Series 12, so Series 11 is where it'll end. But I call this the Shut Up and Take My Money series because every single one of these sets just speaks to me. Starting with the Royal Nest, I'm super excited about this one. I love the shape of it. It looks very different than all of the other castles that we've gotten from the BrickLink Designer Program in a good way. I love the kind of the reds and the blacks, and I think it's cool we're getting a full castle for the Griffin Knights. So for me, it's a must-have day one pre-order. The Lunar Train is a set that I shouldn't want because I don't have any space-themed sets. I don't plan to build a space-themed collection. And even with some of the space sets that LEGO has produced lately, like the NASA ones, it doesn't really fit in because it's more of a sci-fi thing. But I just think it's super cool. It's like a train / monorail in space. I love the classic kind of, LEGO space blue. For me, it's a must-have. I don't need it. I don't know where I'm going to put it, but for me, it's a must-have, so I'm getting it. Similar to the Elven Citadel, this is another set where I normally stray away from like the more fantasy stuff like the Lost Temple and the Riverside Scholars, but this is such a beautiful set, and they also do have some of the regular LEGO factions in there like the Horse Knights and stuff, so I think it can work with your medieval collection, and so for me, it's another must-have. And then this Les Petits Bouquet is a cute little set. It's actually designed by the same designer who made the popcorn wagon, and it's on the same style base. So since it's now part of a series, it makes me want it even more. It's a cute little set, and it's one that I feel like can fit in anywhere in your collection. So for me, I'm going to give that a nice to have. And then you have the Village Parlor. Now this is a beautiful building. It's obviously not the full depth of a modular building, but I think it's still going to look really great. I think it'll complement any part of the street you put it on. I think if I get this one and I get Brick Cross Station, I'll display them together because they have similar architecture styles, and you can put the kiosk from Series 9 with it. So I really like the Village Parlor. For me, it's going to be a nice to have, giving Series 11 a total of 13 points and putting it right up at the top in the S tier. Alrighty, I figured it'd be fun to include rounds 1, 2, and 3 of the Invitational series, especially since there's 5 sets in each of those as well, and there's some fan favorites here. I don't own any of these sets, so this, ranking is pretty arbitrary. But starting with the Castle in the Forest, this is a castle that I know many people really like. For me, I just was never particularly fond of it or the way that it opened. I thought it looked a little unusual. Now, since I have all the other BrickLink castles, I keep hearing about this castle and that, I really ought to get it. But for me, it'll remain in the nice to have category. The Great Fishing Boat, again, if you have like the Fisherman's Village and all those other fishing kind of style sets, I think it'll be nice to have, but I don't know if it scales well with those or if it's too large, but it's pretty cool. The Kakapo, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. That's a cute little bird with a hat, but for me, it's a take it or leave it. And then the Pursuit of Flight, this to me looks like a gift with purchase kind of set. Was never particularly fond of it, and that's where it'll stay. So for me, it's a take it or leave it. And then the Sheriff's Safe. Again, like the antique cabinet, I just don't really have a space in my collection for upscaled, everyday household items. And so for me, the Sheriff's Safe is going to be a take it or leave it, giving round 1 7 points and putting it in the C tier. All right, round 2, starting with the Clockwork Aquarium. Again, like the safe and the antique shop, not really a space for it in my collection. So for me, that's a take it or leave it. The modular Lego store, on the other hand, is one of the BrickLink sets that I want the most. I think that as time has gone on, I want it even more and more. I love the way it looks. I love the glass exterior. It looks super bougie. I think it would look great with brick cross station. I really want it, so for me, it's a must-have. The Mountain Windmill is a set that I may get if I end up getting the Riverside Scholars and the Ocean House, because it complements those, and so in my opinion, it's a nice to have. Whereas the Retro Bowling Alley, kind of like the 1950s Diner and the Space Cafe, I don't really have a place for it in my collection, so for me, that's a take it or leave it. Whereas the Venetian houses, I think would look really good with that Italian Riviera idea set. And, I think it would look good beside modulars. I've always been interested in it, but the color scheme, while realistic, is a little bit dull. So for me, it's still a nice to have, giving round 2 a total of 9 points and putting it in the C tier with round 1. All right, round 3. This was the final round of the Invitational series before the official numbered series, starting with series 1. But with the 1950s Diner, I think this is one that would look good next to the Retro Bowling Alley or maybe the Space Diner. But for me, I already have the Downtown Diner modular building, so it's a take it or leave it. The modular construction site, on the other hand, is a set that I really want and will pick up if I find it for a decent price, but it's super expensive. I also don't know where I would display it, but it doesn't make me not want it any less, so for me, it's a must-have. The Mountain View Observatory is one that I think had the potential to be really cool, kind of like Griffith Observatory in LA, but the top of it just reminds me of R2-D2's dome, and so overall, for me, it's a take it or leave it. Studgate train station is one that really intrigues me because on one hand, it seems really large and difficult to display, but it does have the tracks right there in it, so you can connect it, and I think it's really classy and regal looking. So for me, it'd be nice to have. And then the Winter Chalet, I think this set would look really good. I don't have any Winter Village sets, but if I got the Art of Chocolate, I think I would get this one to complement it. Similar color scheme, and I think it looks nice. So for me, it's a nice to have, giving round 3 a total of 9 points and placing it right in the C tier with rounds 1 and 2. Alrighty, folks, I hope you enjoyed this ranking. As always, all opinions are my own, and I do want to, just mention that all of these sets were designed by Lego fans just like you and me, which is why I will never put down any particular set, even if I'm not a fan of it. So while I would love to see your own rankings of the different, series in the comments, please be kind to all of your fellow Lego builders out there. And with that said, if you did like this video, please hit that like and subscribe button. I'd love to have you as part of the Flip for Figs universe. And if you like this video, stay tuned because I plan to do a ranking of every single BrickLink Designer Program set ever coming soon. So hit that like, subscribe button so you'll be the first to know when that video drops. And with that, I'll see you next time.
When I flip, you flip, we flip.